You've been searching for the best way to generate passive income in your life and heard that real estate is a great way to do it. But you're tired of all the so-called gurus who are all talk and no substance. Get ready to celebrate because Kevin Bupp has spent 14 years successfully making it happen. This is the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Now, here's Kevin Bupp.
Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here with episode number 150 of the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast, where our mission is to help you build and maintain massive amounts of cash flow through income-producing real estate investments. And our guest for this week's show is raw land investment expert Mark Podolsky. And Mark's specialty is purchasing raw, undeveloped land at pennies on the dollar, often sold by motivated sellers who are delinquent on their property taxes, and then selling it for huge profits. Now, this is a niche of the real estate investment world that very few people know about, but is one that you should have on your radar if passive cash flow and huge returns on investment is important to you. And in today's show with Mark, we're going to be covering the following items. We're going to cover how Mark got his start as a raw land investor. We'll learn how he regularly makes 200, 300, and even as high as 1,000% cash-on-cash returns with his raw land purchases. You're going to learn why you shouldn't worry about competition in land business and the many reasons why you shouldn't wait to get started in this niche. You're going to learn how to use technology to automate your land acquisition business. You're going to learn how to create huge returns by purchasing raw land for pennies on the dollar and selling it on easy-to-qualify terms to your end buyer. You'll learn how to obtain a list of all the raw land parcels within your desired county who are delinquent on their property taxes. You'll learn how to market to these delinquent tax parcels and get your phone ringing off the hook with motivated sellers and much, much more. Hey guys, if this is the first time that you're tuning into the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast, I want to just welcome you here and just say thank you for joining me. And for those that tune in each and every week, just want to welcome you back and to say to all of you how grateful I am that you're here with me today. And before we go on the show with Mark, I'd like to briefly run through a few updates with you guys, okay? First and foremost, if you haven't heard already, my partner, Charles Dehart, and myself, we're writing a book on mobile home park investing, and we actually expect it to be completed here in the near future, in the next couple of months. And as a gift to you, and prior to putting it up for sale on Amazon, we like to offer a copy absolutely free, so 100% free, okay? This will be the most comprehensive book available on the topic of mobile home park investing. I promise you that, okay? I've read all the other ones that are out there, and I promise you this one will be the most comprehensive. To get on our VIP wait list, just text the word Kevin to 41411. Again, text the word Kevin, Kevin, to 41411, and we'll put you on our VIP list. You'll receive the very first copy that comes out, okay? Absolutely free. You'll get it before it goes for sale on Amazon, okay? And as you guys are probably already aware, you know that I'm a full-time real estate investor, right? And I've been doing this now for more than 18 years, and I specialize in mobile home parks. Now, I've owned single-family homes, I've owned apartment buildings, and many other types of commercial real estate. For the last 5 years, I've specialized in mobile home parks. And I tell you all this because my team and I, we're seeking accredited investors who are interested in partnering with us on opportunities, okay? You can get more information about our company and also download our investment prospectus by going to our company website, which is sunrisecapitalinvestors.com. Again, sunrisecapitalinvestors.com, or by calling 888-260-9455. This will tell you a little bit more about us, who we are, our company, and what kind of partnership opportunities we have available. And guys, also, I'm on Facebook, and you can find me at Real Kevin Bupp. Okay, just type in Real Kevin Bupp in Facebook in the search. You'll find my page. And I tell you this because I host live weekly training videos where I show you how to build large profits in the mobile home park and commercial real estate niche. And oftentimes you'll find me broadcasting live on a weekly basis from one of the properties that we currently own or one that we're in contract to buy. And these videos are very helpful. I mean, we go very granular into exactly how we do what we do, okay? And if you're interested in watching these videos and learning more about our business, then definitely come find me at Real Kevin Bupp, okay? On Facebook, Real Kevin Bupp. And lastly, guys, if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area, which is where I'm based out of, I'm in Clearwater, Florida, I'd love to meet you. So shoot me an email. This is my personal email address, kevin@kevinbupp.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know when you're coming into town, and let's see if we can get our schedules to coordinate and hook up while you're here, okay? I love talking real estate, and I love talking shop with others who share that same passion. So now, without further ado, I'd like to get on to the show with Mark Podolsky. So here we go. All right, guys, today on the show, we're thrilled to be joined by Mark Podolsky. He's a raw land investment expert. We're welcoming him back for the second time. I spoke to Mark back on episode number 39. I mean, it's been like 2.5 years, long time ago. So that was more than 100 episodes ago. Mark has been investing in raw, undeveloped land for more than 16 years. And last time I spoke with him, he has completed over 5,000 transactions. So I'm sure that number has climbed since that point in time. He's the president of Frontier Properties and founder of thelandgeek.com, which is an educational site on how to profit and build passive income streams from raw, undeveloped land. He's also the host of the very popular podcast, The Art of Passive Income. In fact, I can't keep track of Mark. He keeps doing podcasts left and right. I think he's had 3 or 4 podcasts to date. But today, he is the host of the Art of Passive Income podcast, and he currently resides in beautiful Paradise Valley, Arizona, along with his wife of how many years now? 19 years, Mark?
I'm going on 20.
Gosh,
going on 20.
Man, you're killing me. That's awesome. And you have 3 children. So,
yeah.
Mark, welcome back, bud. I'm glad to have you back on the show.
It's always great to reconnect with you.
Yeah. It's been a long time, man. I remember the first time I ran across your business niche. I don't remember how I did it, but I remember there's not many things that like pique my interest to the point to where I'm like, man, I've got to go check that out. And that was the point in time where I was just starting my podcast, one of my podcasts. I do 2 now, but I was just starting it, and I'm like, I got to get this guy on the show. I got to find out what his business is all about. And the funniest part was I kind of understood a little bit, but it started clicking together before I talked with you, because I used to drive up and down Interstate I-75 in Florida. It goes north to south. And on the side of the road, I would always, once I got up in the more rural part of the state, I'd always notice these big billboards that would say, buy land for, $19,999, 1 acre tracts, owner finance, $100,000 or $1,000 down. I'm like, what the hell is this? All the time, they're all over the place. I'm like, what is this all about? How are these people making money? What is this business? And then I talked to you, and I found out that's exactly what they're doing. That's
it. Yeah.
So there's a very large company here in Central Florida. I don't know the name of the business, but they've got massive billboards all over the highways here that do the land business. So, but anyway, I'm interested in catching up with you, Mark. It's been 2.5 years. I know probably a lot has changed in your business. A lot has changed in my business. I'm a mobile home park guy. I know last time that we had spoken, we were ramping up some big things, and we've been just chugging along, going crazy with our hair on fire, and I'm sure you've been doing the same. The economy is supposedly really good. At least it is for real estate at this point in time. I'm sure it is for you. So why don't you take a few minutes, Mark, and just in case some of our listeners might not know who you are, in case they didn't listen to episode number 39 when we were together last time, maybe just take 5 minutes and give a little bit of a background about yourself and how you got into the land business, and then we'll dive in a little bit more to the business itself and also what's been going on with you.
Yeah. So, back in 2000, I was a very unhappy investment banker, and I was doing mergers and acquisitions with private equity groups. So, enterprise value of, let's say, 5 to 500 million. So nothing too crazy, right? And I had a 45-minute commute to work and back. I was in a cubicle. I was micromanaged. I felt like I had no control over the deal, and it was miserable. So one day my firm hires this guy, and he tells me that he is buying raw land at tax deed auctions on the side, and he's flipping them online, and he's making over 300% returns on investment. Well, Kevin, I'm looking at companies all day long. A great company has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow. Great company has that. Average company's at 10%. I'm looking at companies all day long less than 10%. So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm from the show me state. I don't believe him, right? So I've got $3,000 saved up for car repairs. We go to this little county in New Mexico, and I just do exactly what he tells me to do. I buy 10 half-acre parcels at an average price of $300. I put them up online the next week, and they all sell for an average price of over $1,200. 300%. He was right. So I take all that money, and I go to another auction in Arizona, and there's no one in the room. Again, it's 2000. I mean, I'm buying up properties for nothing, $5, $10, $20, right? And I did it again. And so I flipped all that property. I made over $90,000 on that one auction in 6 months.
Wow.
So I go to my wife. I'm like, honey, I'm ready to quit my job and invest in land full time. She says, absolutely not. So I said, fine. So at the time she was pregnant. So I worked land part-time on nights and weekends and mornings, and my investment banking job full-time until the land investing income exceeded my investment banking salary. And then I quit my job full-time. It took about 18 months in 2001, and I've been doing it full-time ever since. I've done over 5,000 land flips, and I absolutely love this business.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. And, just to clarify, when you say land flips, that doesn't mean that you're just necessarily flipping the deal for cash. Although I know you do, that's part of your business. But a lot of times you guys are actually, you're buying, but you are selling on terms. You're holding financing, correct?
Yeah, now if I can do 100% on financing terms, I will. But we're really more like 90%. But when I first started, I just flipped because I didn't have a mentor like a Kevin Bupp to kind of be like, hey, Mark, maybe you want to order finance this stuff and have some passive income coming in instead of starting from scratch every single day. I was like a deal junkie. So I was kind of late to that game. So today I love the fact that I can get my money out on the down payment or within 6 months of getting my capital back. And then it's this one-time sale. I've got recurring income every single month on a passive basis using a set it, forget it system because I just created a new software product, which we'll talk about. And I don't have to deal with any renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. Because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, the SAFE Act, and RESPA. So this is why when I had you on my podcast called the Best Passive Income Model Podcast, I'd have that shtick, Kevin. I'm like, do I have the best passive income model? And you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Mobile home parks are pretty good. So I think we're neck to neck.
I love mobile.
I think we have the two best real estate asset classes that we invest in.
I agree. I think if you can get a mobile home park where it's actually they're not renting the home from you, they own the dirt.
Just renting the dirt.
Renting the dirt. That is pretty phenomenal. Now you still have to deal with something physical because I've got nothing to protect, nothing to maintain.
Yeah.
But you can deploy more capital than me, and you get depreciation. I don't know. I think it's very close.
Yeah. They're both very good. In fact, I had. When I'd spoken to you the first time, Mark, I was so intrigued that I was like, we had a lot of our own systems and processes in place for the mobile home park business. I mean, this is what we do full time. And I was like, I could probably take some manpower that I have and plug them into the system and see if we can create an ancillary income stream. And it works. The only reason I didn't proceed with doing land deals was that we already had the systems and processes in place to buy parks. And as you'd mentioned, you can deploy more capital. So the time spent, it just made more sense for us to be buying more parks since we were already really good at doing that than to go out and bring land deals into our business. So that's the only reason that we didn't move forward with that business model. But it definitely, we got 3% under contract after the first couple mailings, and I let it fizzle out. It wasn't that they weren't good deals and that we couldn't have made money, but I purposely let them fizzle out because I saw our energy was being spent on something that was just taking away from our core business, which is mobile home parks. So since
that's very smart. I think focus is so underrated these days. We're all distracted, right? The shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. I learned that I had that challenge like 15 years ago, and so I've learned to adapt to having the shiny object syndrome. And so that's why I always tell people is that you can send me other deals, like you can send me apartment deals, you can send me shopping center deals, but I'll look at them, but I'm not going to spend too much energy looking at them because I think that it's very important to become an absolute expert at one thing. You might want to diversify down the road. Diversification is good, but be an expert at your core business. My core business is mobile home park. Your core business is land. And
I think the fact that we're like an inch wide and a mile deep is a huge advantage.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So talk to me about, I get a lot of people that come to me about mobile home parks. Like, if you go back, you mentioned 2000s when you got into this business and you were buying stuff up for $5, $10, $20. I mean, there was no competition, right? Right. Things have obviously changed. Like you actually educate on this topic. I mean, you educate on this niche. And so there's a lot of other Land Geek students out there running around that are doing the same exact business. And I think there's always this fear that people have when they're getting into a new business to them, that is there any opportunities left? Like, like you're teaching all these people exactly how to do it, like all this competition. Like at what point in time are there going to be no opportunities left for me? So is it worthwhile to get into this business at this point in time? I get this question all the time. So what is your answer to that question?
I think it's a great question. And I think it's, it's a legitimate fear, because if I were them, I'd feel the same way.
Sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. The other fear is like, why was Mark even teaching this? If it's so great, like, why share it? Right. Mm-hmm. He must have made his money in 2006. Can't do it anymore. Those who can do, those who can't teach.
So now he's a guru.
And now he just makes money, training people and educating people. And, next thing he's going to have that late night infomercial and be one of those guys, sitting on the beach, behind my Ferrari and yacht and, all that stuff. So, and I think real estate information had gotten so sleazy that people were like, this is just sleazy. Mm-hmm. So I think it's legitimate. So the way I answer it is, number one, I work in Frontier Properties, right? So we did 192 deals last year. I would feel inauthentic teaching something I was not currently doing. Yep. So it's very, very important to me that all my coaches and all my staff and everyone that works for me is actually doing the business, right? That's number one. The second thing is, my wife even said the same thing. She's like, Mark, if you start teaching everybody, aren't you going to create your own competition? So we did some math. I said, look, honey, there's 3,007 counties. There's billions of acres. There's no hedge funds doing this. There's no private equity groups. It's all mom and pops. How much of that market can we buy? How much could 1 million people in that market buy? We will all run out of money before we run out of deal flow. So since I started teaching, which I think was maybe 4 years ago, my business has only increased, right? Scott Todd, who did 197 deals last year, his business has only increased. A bunch of my clients, we're all in the same counties. Everyone keeps doing deals. So I believe that it's just a little tweak in scarcity mentality versus abundance mentality, right? So Frank Rolfe is buying up mobile home parks. There are public companies buying up mobile home parks. How can Kevin buy a mobile home park?
Absolutely.
Right? But it's a huge market.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's mobile home parks. It's a huge market, but it's not that huge. It's not as huge as the land business. I mean, no one knows the real number, but someone said that there's approximately 60,000 mobile home parks in the United States, and of those 60,000, really, maybe there's 30,000 that meet the size criteria that would work for us. So they're like 40 spaces are larger, 50 spaces are larger, so all the rest are really smaller ones, or they're like in rural areas where we wouldn't really want to buy. But even then, so my answer to that question is, yes, there's plenty of opportunity. Really, one really good mobile home park opportunity can change your life forever. I mean, we have smaller parks. We have a couple smaller parks that are like 50 and 60 spaces that throw off more than $100,000 a year EBITDA. I mean, one deal like that can be life changing. So there's 30,000 potential ones just like that. A lot of them. Right. And
I think it's how much is enough. I think that one of the things that I like to talk about, is I'm not one of these flashy guys that, kind of try to do marketing with hot cognition points and showing the Ferrari and the beach and yacht and doing all
those
that.
Things annoy me.
The old school infomercial guys. But what I do think is, if you can create a passive income stream and it gets to a point where it exceeds your fixed expenses and you're working because you want to, not because you have to, life becomes very interesting at that point.
Sure.
Oceans of energy open up. And I think at the end of the day, when we look back on our lives, really what really makes us happy is the quality of our relationships.
Yep.
And so what I think of when I think of my land investing business, it's a vehicle to buy me more time to do the things I really love in life. And so Mondays and Fridays I take off. I spend time with my wife, spend time with my kids. So I work 3 days a week. We have it 90% automated. It's just a machine. And I have no passion for raw land and the raw land I buy. What I have passion for now is helping other people, retire their spouse, them, getting to a point where, they can quit their own job or meet their goals or move the needle in their life. Plus, develop stronger, deeper relationships with those around me because I have the time and I have the energy. And I find that really gratifying. Yeah, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely. I mean, a life-work balance is so very important. And honestly, what I do, Mark, it's funny because I do say I have a passion for the mobile home park business, but now that I think a little deeper into that, that statement. It definitely is a passion, more so for the freedom that mobile home park investing allows me. I mean, I'm a big proponent of life-work balance. I've got 2 very young kids, and I've got a beautiful wife that I love spending time with, and I like being with my entire family all the time. And so I want a business that allows me to spend as much time as I choose with them. I never want my work or my business to dictate the amount of time I have to spend with them, or when I can spend with them, or when we can go on vacation, when we can take a trip together, or whether or not I want to, sleep in one day. Like, I want my business to allow me the flexibility to do whatever I want to do. And for me, that's mobile home parks. And for you, that's land investing. So I think that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing about what both you and I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Rickman and Rachel Mueller, 2 of my coaching clients, they have enough passive income now. They both quit their jobs and they're moving to Europe. And they're going to travel around Europe and do land deals. And it's like, that's why I teach this. And really for me, like, no one ever really thanked me for helping them buy a piece of raw land, right? It didn't change their life, but the teaching part is super gratifying. So, when people ask me, well, why teach? That's really my why. I want to be that pebble in the pond and, not just help that person, but it ripples out and affects all their relationships. And I can really say now, and my wife hates when I say this, but I can die in peace professionally because I've changed enough people's lives where I've made enough of a difference. I'm like, okay, I've done it.
I feel the same way. I get the same questions about, we do a podcast on mobile home park investing, and we literally dissect our entire business on our podcast. And we have a coaching program as well. But I mean, we are teaching our competition. But I love giving back. I love helping others. I love making just life-changing impacts on other lives and allowing them to quit their job or replace incomes. But the other interesting thing about teaching, Mark, and this is really for those like you and I that have this abundance mentality, is that if you help enough others get what they want, it's going to come back to you in tenfold. And how that happens, I'm not exactly sure, but I can tell you that, and I'm sure you can probably attest to this, that you probably do more deals. Partially, I'm sure deals come your way, even from students, right? I mean, do you partner with students on deals? Maybe you don't, but I know that we do, and I don't.
I'll buy wholesale deals from students, and all the time. And I'll wholesale out to students. I mean, it's a synergistic community. And the nice thing about it is everybody has this abundance mentality. Yeah. Everybody wants to help one another, and all ships rise with the tide.
I love it. Yep, you're absolutely right. So tell me about what's changed since the last time we spoke, 2.5 years ago, in the land business in particular. Any major shifts or changes in your business model, how technology is playing into your business? I mean, you talked about a software that you developed. Is that software to help you even further automate your business? So just speak to me about some of the changes that you've seen happening.
Yeah, so we've gotten really geeky since the last time we spoke. So
even more geeky than before?
Even more geeky. So what used to take me 20 minutes in paperwork now takes 2 seconds. So we have a back-end software program that completely automates uploading. So we upload the list. The offers immediately go out via lob.com, which is an API, right? So Lob does our mailings. And then from there, you can just, as the offers come back, we can just type in that record and we get all that information from that mailing right there, right? And so it just takes us through the whole piece from due diligence and our property report all the way into marketing, all the way into doing the contracts. And so between 3 of us last month, we saved 119 hours working within the software. So that has been the biggest difference between the last time we spoke 2 years ago. Now, it used to be a very big pain point as far as managing the borrowers that were paying us every month on their land contracts and promissory notes, right? So there wasn't really a good system out there. There's, you could do Excel spreadsheets or you could do expensive software. It all kind of sucked. So I kind of got to the point where like, I can do this. So we developed a software called paymentgeek.io. It's right now called loangeek.io, but it's called paymentgeek.io. It's a set it and forget it system. We collect ACH and credit cards. So it's, basically it's a one-time setup. If the ACH fails, then it automatically charges the credit card on file. If the credit card fails, it automatically charges the ACH on file. It does all the amortization. It does all the math. You can download out the statements for your CPA. It's unbelievable. And so it's every pain point that I've had in the land business, I'm solving and then passing on to others.
Awesome. I love it. So is there not an option, and maybe it's because of the deal sizes, is there not an option to outsource that to like a servicing company, like a loan servicing company?
You absolutely can. So I used to do that, but there were note setup fees of $100. Then there's a monthly fee of $9. I'm like, why am I paying all these fees? It's hard to sell raw land. So now in our system, it's just a one-time fee. There's no note setup fee. So I even got rid of the fee structure that I hate in the software business. So or the note collection business. So this note collection, and a lot of them only do ACH. They don't do credit cards. Actually, all of them do ACH, no credit cards. So that's a big difference as well.
Good deal. Talk to me about how you're funding your deals. I mean, you did 197 land deals. Actually, you probably just have buckets of money laying around at this point in time, right? That's how you're funding your deals.
Yeah. My wife and I, we basically just have money baths. No, I mean, I am self-funded. When I do need cash, we'll sell a note. So let's say I've got a note that's $20,000, right? And the cash flow on that note, let's say, is $500 a month. So it's $6,000, right? So I'll sell that to an investor at a discount, right?
What kind of multiplier would that sell for? Is that how that's determined, or is it just like a set discount of the overall face value?
We give the investor 12% on their money.
Okay.
Over 12 months. So and there's a security agreement for whatever that cash flow is. So if one of my borrowers defaults, which will happen, they don't even feel it because we just slide in another note and just update the security agreement. So it's a really fantastic way to have that flexibility to continue doing owner financing. And then when I do need cash, I can sell off 12 or 18 months of that cash flow to an investor, redeploy the capital, and then that passive income comes back to me in 12 to 18 months.
Okay. Have you never gone the road of raising private capital to fund deals?
Because our deals are so small, I haven't had to raise like millions of dollars.
Right.
In the past, I did $1 million deal, but land, again, if you're a land seller and you've got $1 million piece of property, you got to owner finance because banks won't finance it. Yeah. So, on that deal, I'd have to come up with $200,000, right? And they would owner finance the balance. So really, big money needs to go to mobile home parks. The little baby money goes into land, right? So this is like your gateway drug into mobile home park investing.
I think it's like land and then mobile home parks and then apartment buildings, right? Because like even more money needs to go into apartment buildings. Like we're like the middle ground.
Yeah. I think apartment buildings is too much brain damage. I'd rather
they're just overpriced. Well, they're just overpriced at this point in time anyway. It's funny. I see so many people entering into our business that probably 3 years ago, if you'd had a discussion with them about mobile home parks, they'd be like, ugh, like turn their nose up to it. Not for me. I've invested in multifamily apartments. And then now today they're like, well, can't get the yields I'm looking for in an apartment. So, Kevin, tell me about these mobile home parks.
Right. You can't get a 10 cap on an apartment building. What is it, like a 5 cap now?
Yeah, I mean, in some markets less than that. I mean, some markets I see 3 and 4 caps. Yeah, but I think probably across the board, probably 6.5 cap. I mean, the debt's very attractive. I think that's part of the still driving factor of the apartment investing space is that the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac debt, that agency debt that's out there, is a very attractive, very long-term amortizations, long-term balloon, like 10-year balloon on it, low interest rates, and so the debt is very attractive. So even buying at a 7 cap, some of these guys can make the deal make sense. And then also when you have rental rates increasing at double digits each and every year for the past 7 years, that obviously helps out as well in their pro forma. But I don't think that it's sustainable. I mean, I don't know where you're at, Mark, in Arizona, but I'm in Tampa, Florida, and the rental rates, I mean, they've hit a threshold. I mean, they're at a point where they are not affordable. Even B-class apartment buildings are not affordable for the average middle-class person. And so I'm not sure exactly where the threshold is or where things just completely start spilling over and falling apart, but I think it's very close in a lot of markets. But
I mean, did you read that article, about Sam Zell and doing the 55 and plus mobile home parks?
I didn't.
Oh, I got to send it to you. I mean, this is a trend. I mean, when Sam Zell, billionaire in Chicago, wakes up one day and says, hey, rents are too high for, this massive influx of baby boomers coming into the market. And he starts, buying up mobile home parks for 55 plus.
Oh, yeah.
We're on to something here.
Yeah. He's actually sold off a big chunk of his apartment portfolio as well. And some of the more, I don't know what they're called, but the main core metros across the United States. I think he's had a lot in the Boston and New York area, but he sold a very large portion of his multifamily portfolio in the past year, only because he feels like we've reached a peak in a lot of markets. So it's quite interesting to watch, and he's a very intelligent guy. So I watch what he does and what he says.
Guy. Yeah. I'll have to send you that article.
So talk to me about some. I know you're a tech guy, so you've always got these new tidbits and new software products that you like to give out advice on. And so, what's something new in your life other than the software you've created, Mark? Like something new over the past couple of weeks that has just been life changing for you as far as technology is concerned. I mean, maybe it's an app or a website or whatever.
All right, so I've got to. I mean, Kevin, are we going to talk about this the rest of the time? I have so many. I'll just start with what comes to mind right now. Let's just start with email, okay? There is a great Chrome extension called Mixmax. It is phenomenal, and it's free, and you can create, these templates. So, what used to, I'd send out the same kind of emails once in a while. Now he's like, click, done. Right. Mixmax is just fantastic. It'll track emails if they open it or not. Again, it's free. Now, if you want to even get more automated with that extension, it's like $25 a month. But for 99% of the people, they won't need that. So Mixmax is my first great tip. My second tip is every single day I spend time in Zapier, Zapier.com. And I look at, oh my gosh, what can I automate today? It is a game changer. If you're not using Zapier,
it's funny. I am using it, but I don't use it. We have someone that helps us put together our back end of our educational program, like our funnels and everything. So we're using Zapier. I'm just not sure how. I have an account, but I don't handle it.
Oh my gosh! I mean, let's say I get an email, right? Oh, here's an example of how I use Zapier. Okay, you call my company, right? 1 to buy land, 2 to sell land. 3 land geek, right? Let's say you hit 1, you want to buy land, okay? That's a zap that automatically goes to my acquisition manager with the voicemail attached, right? And and instructions on what to do. Now, let's say you want to sell land, right? Then that goes as a zap to go to Fancy Hands. Fancy Hands then calls back the seller. Are they really sellers? Right? They have a script that's attached through Evernote, so it can change it on the fly, and it just automatically updates. So they get that script. They know exactly what to say to that seller, because sometimes the sellers just want to call and yell at us, right? They're not really sellers. Yeah. Sometimes they're just confused. So then the Fancy Hands VA qualifies the seller, and then if they're qualified, then it goes to the acquisition manager. And then they go ahead and buy the property or go through that process. So Zapier is amazing for automation. Lumen, Lumen 5, the number 5.com. Imagine, Kevin, if you will, you write a blog post or you write a blog post with your podcast, right? Well, today, video has killed the radio star. Mm-hmm. And this actually automates that blog post becoming a video, which you will then take that video, put it up onto Facebook, because Facebook videos are getting a lot of attraction now, or Twitter or wherever. And then it'll be like a little teaser commercial for that blog post.
I don't understand how that works. That does. So what kind of images?
Oh, it's free. It's free. Lumen5.com.
Lumen5.com.
It's artificial intelligence. It's amazing.
So what to do? Just take certain keywords and finds images that are associated with those keywords and plugs it into like some kind of commercial? Or, I mean, what's it used for the imagery?
You got to see it. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. You can change the imagery. You can change the text. But it'll come up with its own generated way of doing it. It's amazing.
Okay.
So that's another one.
How do you find out about all these things? Is this what you do on Mondays and Fridays when you don't work?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I love technology. I go to these sites and, you got to keep up with it every day. It's an everyday thing. So, you wake up in the morning and you meditate, and then you have your bulletproof coffee, and then you're like, oh, what's going on in the world with technology? And you go to these sites and they talk about it, and you play with it, and you're like, this one will stick, this one won't. So I love that. An app that I'm using, where's this app? I'm using it now consistently, and I really enjoy it. Where is it? Hold on. You know what? Wait, hold on. I got to update my phone. Okay. I think it's called Sway, SWAY, because I'm not a great meditator. And this thing, you put your headphones on and you just kind of sway. I know it kind of woo-woo, but it's hard to be.
Are you doing that right now as we're doing this interview? Are you swaying?
So I sway like 20 minutes a day, and I kind of clear my mind, and it's like a walking meditation, and I like it. I know that's kind of.
You can't sway while you're walking on your treadmill desk, though. It sounds dangerous.
It's dangerous for sure. Okay, so that's an app. What's the other app? Oh, what3words.com. You've got to have, Kevin.
Okay.
What3words.com. So basically, they've addressed the entire world, and then they take those GPS coordinates, and instead of it being these crazy, GPS coordinates or directions, right? Like let's say, for example, that. Let's say you're selling a mobile home park, right? And you're going to give the physical address to a potential buyer of your park. Mm-hmm. And they want to go out and look at the park, right? Instead of sending them that address, which might be really crazy, you'd send them kevin.bup.awesome. And that 3 words will take them to the correct GPS coordinate.
I love it. That's awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah. So 3 words is a great app. I mean, gosh.
Okay, no, that's I like that. I think that's overload right there. I mean, that's probably for the average person. That's overload to go check those out. But I'm actually really excited about lumen5.com. I can't wait to go check that out and find out how they do what they do. So
it's amazing. It's the best time ever to be alive and doing business. It really is.
Mark, what advice would you give those that are listening in that don't know anything about land investing? I number one, I recommend that everyone go check out your podcast, but also go check out the interview we did back on episode number 39. But assuming they have an interest in learning more about land investing, what's some of the initial advice you give those that you've already piqued their interest a little bit just by the idea of it? But what's the next step? I mean, what does someone do after that? I think the next
step is you've got to do county research, right? You've got to determine where do you want to buy that raw land. And then you've got to go and get a list of the people that own raw land in that county. And so the way that I do this is, let's say, for example, I determine that there's county in Florida, right? Now that information is online, right? Or sometimes it's not online. Now, if it's not online, I'll just contact the county assessor, right? Or the county treasurer. And I'll say, who owes back taxes in this county? And so they'll say, oh, these are all the people that owe back taxes on the county. They'll send me that list, and I'll get it put into an Excel spreadsheet. And then what we'll do is we'll scrub that list and we'll get rid of all the commercial property, all the industrial property, right? And then, mobile home parks, whatever it is, and we're going to get sort by, let's say, use code. Maybe it's VL for vacant land. So now we got all this vacant land. Then we're going to sort it one more time because we want to sort it by size, because I don't want to send out an offer for 1 acres that are the same as for 10 acres. Mm-hmm. So I'll go ahead and price out comps on the 1 acre parcels. So let's say the comps are $10,000 for those 1 acre parcels. Well, I'm going to use the Warren Buffett method of margin of safety to get my 300%. So I'll divide by 4. And so the most I can pay for that property is $2,500. So I send out a $2,500 offer because I don't want to be in the appraisal business saying, hey, I'm interested in buying your land. Now I'm on the phone all day like, I'm interested in selling my land.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, what are you going to pay? So we actually send them an actual offer. 3 to 5% of those people will accept that offer. Then we go through our due diligence. And again, we can do this from anywhere in the world because we've delegated the due diligence to our company in the Philippines. They do the title search. So it costs $11. We'll contact somebody locally with a Craigslist gig, have them stomp on the property, fill out our property report, take pictures, shoot videos, and then we'll close that deal either through a title company. If it's real low, we'll just do it directly. Mm-hmm. Now we own the property, and then we'll start marketing that property. Now, Kevin, who's the best person to market to?
I don't know who.
I've got a built-in best buyer.
Oh, who? Your students?
No, the neighbors.
Aha! I knew the answer to that question because
I knew you knew it.
I knew the answer to that question, but you caught me off guard.
We sent out that letter to neighbors saying, "Hey, before we take this to the open market, go ahead, protect your view, right? Maybe you have a friend that wants to buy it. You got first shot at it, right? Before we go to the open market, so that there's that fear of, oh my gosh, who's going to be my neighbor?
Yeah,
right. I'll buy it. I'll get a bigger tract. Or sometimes they want to sell. Now I got a larger tract to sell. So then let's say the buyers pass or the neighbors pass. Then we'll go to our buyers list. They might pass. Then we go to Craigslist. And Kevin, we've automated our Craigslist postings. A touch of a button, I can put up 124 ads on Craigslist using postingdomination.com/the land geek. And now we automate our Facebook ads as well using this geeky program. So
Posting Domination?
postingdomination.com/the land geek. Okay, so now we go there. We post the buy sell groups. We post on Craigslist. If that doesn't work, then we'll go to landsofamerica.com, landandfarm.com, landhub.com, landflip.com, all the land sites. Mm-hmm. And within 30 days, that property doesn't sell after going through all that, our pricing's off. So then we got to do something with our pricing, either raise the price, lower the price, change the terms. Something has to change. And then within 45 days, it'll sell for sure. I've never been stuck with a piece of raw land.
Really? Okay. Have you ever lost money on a piece of raw land from what you paid for?
I have. I've never lost money, which sounds crazy to say. I know it sounds unrealistic. I hate to say it. But when you're buying an asset 23 cents on the dollar, it's really hard to lose money. Now, I will tell you about a Treasure Lake deal I did, and I'm flying back and forth, and I'm doing a huge deal with them because it's an overdeveloped community, and I bought like 1,000 lots for like $50, right? Because they had liens on it, and it's a whole long story. But basically, when I factored into my time, I made $100,000 on the deal, but I bought it in 2006, and I got hit right in 2007, 2008. So when I factored in my time, that's the first deal I think I broke even.
Gotcha. Better than losing money, right?
It's better than losing money, but I'm really vicious with my time and my effective hourly rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I can always make more money. I can't get more time.
Sure.
And so, there you go.
Well, Mark, how do we find out about you? Where do the listeners go if they want to learn more about you and your business and about land investing?
I think the best place to go is thelandgeek.com.
Okay.
And you can download for free our passive income blueprint and get the ebook, How to Avoid the 3 Fatal Land Buying Mistakes, and get access to 100 Land Geek podcasts as well, and really delve deep into this business and see if it's right for you.
Okay. Awesome. Mark, any final words of wisdom that you want to share with our listeners at the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast before we say goodbye?
If you'll do for the next 3 to 5 years what other people won't do, you'll be able to do it for the rest of your life what other people can't do.
Boom.
Zig Ziglar quote.
I love it.
Boom. Drop
it. I love it. Mark, it's been a pleasure, man. Glad that we had the opportunity to catch up. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. And let's stay in touch, okay?
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Congratulations! Now you've got more of the best tricks of the trade in building massive amounts of passive income from real estate. For more amazing resources, visit realestateinvestingforcashflow.com. And we'll see you next Monday morning.